If you need to cry, let it out. Strong people cry. And the thing is by letting that and sobbing, let it out, because all of a sudden you become clear. You do. You let go of this toxic crap that you've been holding on all of your life, this bitterness, this resentment, the shame, the blame, the guilt. You let it out, and you can start thinking clearly. The forgiveness part, it's amazing. And I learned right then that what's happened to me with all the scars and abuse and stuff is not nearly as important as what's happened inside of me. And for so long, I was letting the inner me become the enemy. Letting the inner me become the enemy. My parents, I was blaming everything on my parents. My life sucks because of them. When in reality, my life sucks because of my attitude. My life sucks because of the bad choices I'm making. So I learned right then that I wasn't going to let my parents' mistakes destroy my greatness. Every one of us is born with greatness. Every one of us has greatness, and guess what? Greatness is contagious. If you will tap into that greatness, it becomes infectious. I was never going to let my past infect my future again. That was it. I was divorcing my story, I call it. Divorce your story from victim to now victor. This is my story, and guess what? Nobody could destroy me. My mom couldn't destroy me. My stepdad couldn't destroy me. My dad couldn't destroy me. The only one that was destroying me was me. See, I used to self-sabotage myself all the time. I would carry, metaphorically, this backpack on my back, and it weighs like 20,000 pounds. And you know what's in that backpack? The poop of your past. That's what I call it, the crap of your past. All your crap, your baggage in there. And once in a while, you take that backpack off. You throw it down, you unzip it, you put your hand in there, you get a nice big glob of it, and you smear it all over yourself, and you wonder why your life stinks. Yeah, I had to learn to take off that backpack and leave it off. And then your life excels. It grows. It just goes. You let go and grow. You become better and not bitter. So, my life transformed at that point. That was my make or break moment. And then my wife has been an amazing angel. Let me tell you this. I came into the right family. I'm shaking. I got goosebumps because my wife, when I met her dad didn't like me. Nobody liked me. But when I started talking to Dad later on, turns out the dad was at the same orphanage that I was at. The dad spent 8 years in foster care. And we have this connection. Because us alumni understand each other. Pain understands pain. And every one of you has a story. And every one of you is broken. Every one of you. Yeah, maybe you're going to look perfect to the outside, but every one of you is broken. There is brokenness to everyone. But let that light shine through the cracks. I believe that God has a way of taking broken pieces and turning them into masterpieces. And I believe that my broken pieces eventually brought me to this moment on this stage to share with you that these kids are masterpieces. Don't keep breaking them. Your words can either lift up or defeat a child. Every time you write in your files or you speak to that kid, you speak faith into that kid. Both of my foster parents were teachers. And you know what teachers do? They believe in the potential of a kid. A great teacher does. And so they spoke as if I was already at that destination. They were my coaches. So don't give up on yourself. My life is transformed. This is a Derek Clark quote. I'll finish on this, and one more thing. People will call you, like you've heard of the starfish story. You know, the guy that picks up the starfish and throws the starfish and says to this one, it counted back in the ocean. Well, I don't think of you as starfish throwers or anything like that. I came up with this. I think of you as restoration artists. That you're repairing the child's canvas of life. You're restoring hope, love, security, confidence, dignity. You're delicately increasing the value and the beauty of a child, gently repairing the tears and the blemishes, cleaning off the dirt and dust, touching up the paint. You lightly brush, you gently wipe. You're working on very small pieces at a time on us children, at a time, working very carefully, patiently, focused on the outcome, the beauty, the masterpiece. These children, like I told the youth last night, they're hope dealers. They have the potential not to be a dope dealer, but a hope dealer. And you know what? I'm like medicine to a lot of people. I give them hope. They are the next generation that can be the next hope dealer. Because it's the ones that have gone through hell, that have risen, the resilience, the redemption story, the underdog story that people love to watch those movies. People love to watch those documentaries. People love to read those books. So you're raising those little hope dealers. Now, my point here is I'm a person, not a case number. Share with me hope, love, and help me believe in my potential. I became the man I am today because someone was willing to give extra time and more than they were expected to give to feed me, to fuel me. Someone took the time to make me feel important, respected, accepted, included, secure, and loved. And guess what? That's what every one of you wants in your relationship, in your job, with your children. This is the critical needs. This kid who was thrown away grew up to write 7 books now. 7 books. They're all available, ebooks at Amazon and everywhere. But 7 books. This is my family. Let me tell you. I've had the money. I've had the fancy cars. I've had the building. I've owned all this stuff. And through the years, I learned that my greatest investment is my children, not my material possessions. And that I was going to make a choice when my 16-year-old was 2 years old. I wasn't a great dad the first 2 years because I was so scared. I worked 16, 18-hour days because I didn't want to go home because I didn't know how to be a dad. And I went to marriage therapy because my wife was getting sick of some stuff, and I said to her, I'll never forget, I don't know how to be a dad. 32 years old, 2-year-old, and a brand new kid already out. So I got 2 kids. I don't know how to be a dad, Joy. And she goes, you know, when you come home, they just love on you, and you spend like 2 minutes with them and you leave. I go, I don't know what to do. And you know what she said to me in front of the therapist? Get down on your knees and play horsey with them. Let them crawl over you. Spend 30 minutes an hour. They love you, Derek. They love you. So I learned right then, 32, I'll never forget. I said, that's it. I'm going to grow up. I am not going to pass on generational curses anymore. I'm going to pass on generational blessings. And that is my life in a nutshell, and that is the rapping dad. I'm not my kid's friend, they'll tell you. I'm there to coach you and get you through, but I am not your best friend. And according, looking at all the rapping dad videos, you go, oh, he's such a great dad. I am a great dad. I'm a fun, fair, firm dad. There's nothing wrong with being a fun dad. But I am not my kid's best friend. We can be friends later on, but I got to get you out of the house. I got to, let you fly. I got to let you fly. So I want to close on this. See, I'm a big 6-foot-tall crybaby. I'm sorry. But my website is iwillnevergiveup.com. All my social media is rappingdad.com. RAPPINGDAD. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that stuff. But I want to share with you a rap that I wrote at about 17 years old. And as a youth in foster care, I took out all the bad words, don't worry. Do you know who has the most Facebook likes? Not Lady Gaga. Number 2 is Vin Diesel. Not Taylor Swift. Number 1 is this rapper called Eminem. Because your youth, he hasn't come out with anything recently, but usually his music talks about his personal life, whether it's his love for his daughter Haley or a little hatred towards his ex-wife Kim or towards his mom. But people relate to his story. People feel him. So I was recently in Detroit, and I did a big event up there, and I said, I'm not Eminem, because he's from Detroit. I'm Diamond D. So I want to share with you my story. This is one of my biggest money makers on iTunes, and it's called This Is My Life Story, the rap. And here we go. Now, I know that some of you don't like rap. I understand that. Don't think of it as rap. Think of it as my story. Think of it as my poem. Think of it as my way of expressing my pain. Because you're in this room right now because you deal with pain. You deal with trauma. You deal with grieving children and youth. So, here we go. Yeah. It's my life. It's my story. This is my pain. This is my glory. Yeah, who's gonna win? Who's gonna lose? I never thought I'd be wearing these shoes of life. Man, it don't feel right. When am I gonna see the light and feel the light? Walk with me, someone walk with me. Come on, Daddy, just talk to me. Have you ever thought about me in your life? Why'd you wanna kill me and take away my life? I'm your blood dad, I'm your son dad. Yeah, it's messed up knowing that I never knew my dad who didn't wanna be a dad. What's up with that? Don't understand, but yo, I gotta move past. Hey, Daddy, hey, where you been? In the jail cell, yeah, once again. You ain't never see me smile, never see me walk, never see me talk, never see me rock this microphone. Yeah, this is my home, let me out of my pain, cause I know I'm not alone. Yeah, these are my peeps and I'm telling how I feel. This is no secret and I'm keeping it real now, mama. Why'd you have to run away? Why'd you leave me alone? Why'd you have to make me pay for my daddy's sins and daddy's eyes? Daddy's pain and daddy's lies. Now I'm on the outside, yeah, looking inside. I'ma bust this curse even if I gotta die. Never give up now. And everybody runs from the pain cause it hurts. Never give up. Everyone loses something sometime. I never thought I'd have to lose my mind, yeah, lose my world and lose my soul. Lose the ones who really gave me hope. Now my sister's been killed and my brother's been killed and my friend's been killed. When am I gonna heal? In the snap of a finger and my life gets jacked in my brain. I'm thinking of making it stop the field trap where the love was. Yeah, hate begins. Now I'm mad at the world cause the pain won't end. I'll cover up the hurt, cover up the shame. I'm caught in the middle of a hurricane of pain. So pain, show me what you got. Now I'm never gonna let anyone back on my heart till my wrists start to bleed. Don't feel the need of living this life. Will someone help me? Man, I need you. Say a prayer for me. Yeah, let me believe that you believe in me. Yeah, let me believe that you believe in me. Yeah, let me believe that you believe in me. Yeah, this is my life story. But I turn my pain into glory. Nothing can destroy me. Thank you very much for having me out. Thank you. Wow, thank you. Whew. Thank you. Thank you. Whew. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now, I know I went over, I'm so sorry, but I feel like I needed to give you that message. Does anybody have any questions? No questions? Wow, okay. Somebody have a... Oh, okay, yeah. Great question. What's the status of my mother? I tried to make a relationship with my mom. Realized that she never reached out to me even when I was 30. I'm the one that reached out to her. I tried. I flew her back to California a few times, just trying to make something work. And you know what we do is we try to make up for the past. Well, what if I had a relationship with my mom? Things will be better now. But here's the deal. I grew up. I did something with my life. My mom didn't. I finally had to learn to just cut that off, that I already had a mom. I already had a mom, my foster mom. So I don't have a relationship with her. I did call her, though, 7 years ago. And on Mother's Day, of all places, I'm on the toilet looking at my iPhone. My wife always wonders why I'm in there for 15 minutes, right? And I'm just like doing my thing. And instead of magazines, guys, now we got this, right? But Mother's Day, in the morning, I hear a voice within that says, you need to call your mom. I'm like, what? I've never acknowledged her on Mother's Day, ever. Call your mom. I don't even know where her phone number is. I'm arguing with the person in my brain, right? I don't even know where her phone number is. Yes, you do. Oh, God. So I finally have enough courage, and I call her that evening. I don't know why I'm calling her, but as I'm calling her, the phone is ringing, and I'm thinking, oh, I know what I'm supposed to do. She answers the phone. I go, hi, this is Derek. She goes, oh, my gosh, my little baby boy. And I go, wait, no, don't go there. I need to tell you something right now. I forgive you. I forgive you for giving me up. I had a checklist in my brain that I carried for years of all the bad things that she'd done. You know what I did? I went down that checklist and I forgave her. And I'm crying, bawling. And then she says to me, I could hear her crying, and she goes, and this is what I wanted when I met her at 30. Derek, I'm so sorry that I chose a man over my own son. I will take this to my grave. I will take it to my deathbed. And I said, no, you don't, Barbara. Barbara, you have a clean slate with me. You can go on with life knowing that I am free now. I haven't talked to her since, and that was years ago. I had to go on. I can't keep those type of people in my life. She has to find herself and grow. So I don't have a relationship with my brother. I tried to reach out to him several times, but, he did send me a message when my sister's killer came up for parole about 8 years ago or so. He sent me a message and said, hey, I finally read your book. It was actually good. I'm glad everything's working out for you. And I thought that was a sign like, oh, we can have a relationship. But he never reciprocated when I sent an email back or anything. So I just left it. So, any other questions? Yes. Thank you. Thank you. I came up, thank you. I think I make it simple like this. The message, it's not about me anymore. I don't go back to my hotel room and pop a Xanax or a Prozac or or start drinking a fifth of Bacardi or something, I have detached myself from it. Sometimes it is emotional when I relive that moment because I know who the audience is. And that you are saving little Derek and Derekas, like it's on you. You make a difference, like I'm planting seeds inside of you, and I hope that they grow. But this seed that I want to plant inside of you is hope. I came up with this acronym for hope. I came up with it right before my TED Talk. And hope, I have the website and everything, hope, helping one person every day. And when you that's like when Josh was saying earlier, just focus on one person. Just help one person every day. Be consistent with that. And when you get beyond one person, then hope becomes helping other people excel. So that's how I live my life, is sharing a message of hope. Thank you. Any other questions? Yeah. Yeah. It was my biological sister. And my foster brother, who took me under his wings, taught me how to ride motorcycles. When I would run away from that foster home, I'd run away down to his house. But I have to tell you something real quick. It's this social worker. I had just gotten kicked out of high school, not expelled, but suspended for fighting. And my mom is so sick of the same pattern. They put me in a brand new school, and they thought it would change. But you know what? Nothing changes if your habits don't change. So you can put me in a new environment, and I'm going to act the same way. It doesn't. I have to. You have to change it within. I call it your inner wealth. So many people are focused on their outside wealth, getting the fancy car, the home, the building, all that stuff. And I remember after making all that money, I decided to work on my inner wealth. my determination, my integrity, my creativity, my courage muscle, my patience muscle, all these muscles within. Because if you can get the inside better, the outside world is going to be much better. And so I just got suspended. They called the emergency social worker. She goes, just meet with them in the car. Just meet with them in the car. I don't even want you guys in the house right now. So I go in the car, I get in the passenger side, and there's this new social worker I've never seen. And he goes, why are you always in trouble, Derek? And I'm like, what? You don't know me at all, fool, like that. And I paw at his face like this. Get out of my face, fool, like that. And I touch his face, and he goes, don't you touch me. I go, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Do something. And that's what I would do. I'd egg people on because I like to get in fights. And he goes, wait, chill, man. And he reaches in the back seat. And I'm like, I can't see what he's reaching at. And he reaches in the back seat. He opens up a cooler. And he hands me a soda. He goes, see, chill, man. I go, and I wasn't allowed to have soda in this foster home because they changed my diet. They changed everything. No video games, TV 1 hour a week, all that stuff. They changed everything. And I'm like, I can't have soda. He goes, you can with me? And I'm like, really? That's like crack cocaine. You're like, I could have soda? That's like illegal in this home. And he goes, no, you can have a soda. Oh, so we can get in trouble together? He goes, yeah, let's have a soda together. And then I thought that guy was cool. And then I said, hey, they're going to probably send me to a group home, but I'm thinking I can go live with my sister. So he gave me my sister's address. I wrote a letter to her, Corlane. She wrote back. She goes, oh my gosh, my baby brother, I'll come up to Northern California. I'll come visit you. And my foster parents are totally on board because I'm thinking I'm going to go live with her. She's 26. I don't get any response back. No phone call, no letter. 2 weeks goes by, a month goes by, 6 months goes by, a year and a half goes by. I never hear from my sister ever again. I get a letter from my biological mom stating that my sister had been shot and killed on Mother's Day. So that really hit me to the core. And the number one response to that, when I read that letter, I still have it to this day, and I have the only letter from my sister to this day. And my response to that was, why wasn't I invited to the funeral? That was my response, and I became angrier and angrier. Any other questions? Yes? Great question. Okay, how did I transition to public speaking? I did not grow up to want to be a motivational speaker or to write books. I wrote one-page lyrics. I had D's and F's on my English papers. Like, that's not what I wanted to be. And the number one fear of anything is public speaking. People would rather die than public speak, right? But when I owned my company, I'm hanging out with the President of the United States, 2006. And then I had wrote a song for our military called Goodnight Soldier, because I'm a military appreciator, right? I'm a civvy, they call it, and I've done a lot for the military. And something told me as I'm scanning down thousands of emails in my office, and one of the emails said, I look at the subject line, it says, I just got baptized to your song. And I'm like, what? I don't go to church or anything like that. What, baptized to my song? I open it up, and it's a soldier in Iraq that just got baptized with my song playing in the background, and she says the mortars were going off, the war, but I got baptized by the chaplain, and I heard a voice that said, it's time for you to be a speaker. You need to write a book. And I'm like, oh, hell no. That's what I said. No, I'm not. They don't have my records. I called the county. They found my records. I got a copy of my records, and that became the flesh of my first book, I Will Never Give Up. And as that book took off, everybody was saying, hey, we want you to speak. We want you to speak. It was not like a big goal. I thought maybe I'll just speak, share my life. And then I remember my first event for sharing my story was at the CYC, California Youth Connection Conference at University of San Diego, USD, for 1,000 foster youth in California. My first event. I got on that stage. It's on camera. I just cried because I felt so for them. I felt for them like this is where I was. So I spoke to them as though I wish somebody had spoken to me at 16 years old. Just real. They got a great BS meter. Just real. And that just transformed. And then I used music in my presentations, and that just blew up. So, yeah. But if you said, Derek, what's the formula? I would say, get a video out there, write a book, get a blog, and let people know that you do it. It takes time, though. to build cheerleaders that just pass your name everywhere. And social media is awesome now. So, any other questions? Yes. Oh, yeah. Yes. Yeah, so I wrote a book called I Will Never Give Up on God Again. It's my second book. And let me tell you, God and I did not like each other for years. I remember the angriest I've ever been was 17 years old, and I remember when my brother was killed, I went into my room for 3 days and told God, because I grew up in a Christian home there, that foster home, I said, what was the one thing I prayed for every day? Go home, go home, go home. And guess what? Years, I never got home. So I said, forget God, see ya. You're blah, 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 and I would cuss at him, and I was just very upset at him. So we went on the way, and I wrote my first book. And in that book, there's a chapter that says, does God even know me or love me? And I was very agnostic, on borderline atheist, just like, whatever. You weren't there for me. And then a little girl drowned in my pool on 4th of July. And we had our friends over who were very Christian-y. And they would always say, I pray for you, Derek. I'm like, save your prayers, dude. You know me. Read my book. I'm not into God. And we invited them over for 4th of July, and we had just bought this home, and we were thinking of putting a pool in, but we went to Costco to get like the 4-foot-tall pool so you could see if we really are going to use a pool for $400 versus $40,000, right? And what I didn't know, we were 20 feet away. My little 3-year-old daughter at that point and their 3-year-old daughter came to us to put the life jackets on. They went up the ladder, and they jump off the ladder into the pool. And what I didn't know is that my daughter took her life jacket off. And my daughter at 3 years old could swim because we believe in getting toddler swimming lessons very quickly. But the other 3-year-old girl, our friend's daughter, didn't know how to swim. And she's on the bottom, and she died. She is dead. And Elijah, their son, heard my daughter screaming, Ellie, Ellie, where's Ellie? He jumped off the trampoline, went in the pool, pulled her up, and I've never seen, it was just awful. And we pulled her out. I called 911. She's on the ground. 911 says, does she have a pulse? No, she doesn't have a pulse. She's gone. Keep giving her CPR. Keep giving her CPR. She's dead for 15 minutes. I'm waiting and cussing out 911. Why isn't anybody here yet? And then I see my wife, who didn't grow up in church or anything like that. And over the last month before 4th of July, she had been watching this guy on TV, just smiling and blinking, this pastor. And I'm like, why would you ever watch him? He's like a blinker, and he's just like, ah. Well, it's Joel Osteen. And he'd raise his hands up and blah, blah, blah. So my wife, as the husband, the father is pacing back and forth, crying and just like, oh my gosh. And I'm on the phone with 911, and the mom's giving CPR, and she stops, and my wife puts the hands over her head and says, dear God, please help this little girl to live. Dear God, please help this little girl to live. And her eyes opened, and her eyes rolled back, and she was out again. And then the ambulance was there, and they took her, and the police were there, and they had to check my house because 4th of July, have I been drinking? I don't drink. Is there drugs? You know, we clear with them. We get in the car, and I'm driving my Hummer with the father. And the father, I'm so angry. And I say, I can't believe God does this to you. I can't believe God does this to you. You're good people. And you know what this man says to me? Makes $40,000 a year, humble guy. And I'm the pillar of the community, make this money and all this stuff. Look at me. And this man on the passenger seat goes like this, Derek, if God takes away my little girl, I will praise him. I will still praise him. And I thought, how could you praise this God? And I realized at that point that this man was more powerful than I, that he had something I didn't have, which was faith. Faith in something. We get to the hospital. He goes in the emergency. He comes out. He's crying on my shoulder saying, she's not going to live. There's too much water in her blood. They're going to ship her to Oakland's hospital, but she's not going to live. So later on that evening, they think she's going to die. The next morning, the cell phone goes off, and they said she's alert, but she's not speaking. And we thought, oh my gosh, brain damage from lack of oxygen and stuff. And then that was it. And then 8 o'clock that evening, because the cell phone had died, 8 o'clock that evening, I get a knock on the door. And I'm like, who is it? And I open up the door. So 28 hours later, there's that little girl, Ellie, with their parents going, hi, Derek. And I just hugged her, and I said, you are such an angel. And I have to tell you, I went into my big closet in my big house, got down on my knees, and I asked God to forgive me for all the people I probably led astray that made him doubt God. And I heard this voice. I'm being very vulnerable here, but I heard this voice that says, Derek, I never abandoned you. You abandoned me. And then my life flashed backwards, and I could see all the places why I didn't smoke the weed, why I didn't start doing coke, why I didn't, like all these things that I made a choice not to do. So I had to write a book, the second book, to like go over the first book of like, does God know or love me? So I will never give up on God again, from feeling abandoned by God to feeling embraced by God. So yes, I'm a believer. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? I can't see many. Okay. Is there a question there? Okay. No other questions? Okay, so I'm going to close on a poem that I wrote that kind of brings it together. So here's a few lessons that I've learned. I've turned a mess into a message and earned a return. I've turned scars into stars, live like avatars. No one can stop you if you believe in your heart. And this is your life. Go and own it. Never let the past infect your future for a moment. Never let a weakness destroy your greatness. It's time to profess. You're too blessed to be stressed. Bam! You could be everything you want to be. But never let the inner me be your enemy. It's time to be better and not bitter. It's a choice to be a winner. And it's a choice to be a quitter. So if you've been knocked down or thought about suicide, get out of the shadows and hold your head high. Because this is your time. And this is your sign. Get up and climb. You were born for this moment to shine. My name's Derek Clark. Thank you.